Good afternoon. It's Monday, the 14th of June, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We have Norns that Shakespeare has defined them as the Wyrd sisters. Wyrd sisters. Ugly hags of fate, past, present, and future. The Norns of fate called the Wyrd sisters, and none of it's accurate. So I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to explain these Norns that we have as part of Northern Paganism. First, they are not called Wyrd sisters, they are called Worth sisters. In Old Norse, the Y was occasionally, not every instance, was pronounced with the O, like in the word worth, and the D was added later. It was actually the Thurzaz symbol after the R. So we have the Worth sisters, and their names, which when we do a 3-rune rune cast, we put the runes into the positions of the Worth sisters: Urd, Vertandi, and Skuld. So what are those names? They do not mean past, present, and future. Earth does not mean past. What does earth mean? It means a small pile of stones, especially fallen from a bigger pile. This is where we get chip off the old block. Now, Odin's seat is called Leithshelf, and that means a sliding shelf of rocks. It's Odin's high seat. So, like slate that crumbles. Now, what's fascinating about this is that Odin is the spirit gifted in rebirth from Mother Goddess Frey. The rocky rest bed, or the heathen altar of the extreme north, is where Freya gives her wake-up call every autumn for that bear to move off of that rocky rest bed, that heathen altar, that Thulian seat, that high seat, because it's at the extreme north. And in nature, our bear during winter dens up in those actual rocky rest beds, the high places. So this small pile of stones, earth from a bigger pile, points to Odin, but it points to youth. It points to that time when our young, our children, are still being protected, still being instructed, still being taught in the ways they should go. So that is the beginning phase. It is not simply past. The next Norn is Vertandi, and that word in Old Norse means worth, not present, but worth. So Vertandi, being in the middle phase, is when a person now comes out of that youthful phase where they're being protected, and now they must prove themselves. They're on their own. They have to start a family. They are going to be carrying forward all of the life lessons, all of the culture that was passed down to them when they were in the earth phase, the youthful phase. Think of it like the moon. The moon is young when you have a waning or a waxing crescent. you have a waxing crescent moon, it is just starting to grow. Hasn't really obtained any worth yet because it doesn't light up the night. When a moon all of a sudden gets to that waxing gibbous, when it gets to that waxing gibbous phase, it finally starts to give off enough light where you can see at night using the light of the moon, all the way up through the time of the waning gibbous. This is the middle phase of life where the moon has worth. The middle phase of life where a person proves their worth. And that is called Vertandi, not present. Vertandi does not translate in the Old Norse to present. It translates to worth. The final Norn in the final position of a 3-rune cast is skuld. It means should. If you think again as the moon, now you have the final of the 3 phases of the moon, we'll call it. You have that waning crescent, and it's resting on the opposite shore, and it's old age in life. This is what should happen. It's like the rune Perth. Whatever you put into that cauldron of Perth throughout the course of your life is what you will draw upon when you're older, after you pass that worth phase. So this is what should happen if Earth and Vertandi were carried out. It's primal law. It's the law of cause and effect. These course of actions led to this, the most likely result. That is Earth, Vertandi, and Skuld, the Worth sisters. They are not, again, I cannot state this enough, they are not past, present, future. They are not Norns of fate in some predestination, you can't change what your fate is. And they're not called the Wyrd sisters, and they're not hags. Equally as insulting would be the label that everybody uses. It's maiden mother crone. Crone depicts this ugly hag type instead of wisdom. Maiden mother elderly. The elderly has the wisdom from going through the Earth and the Vertandi phase of life. So just wanted to clarify that. And looks like I've got some pretty dark clouds ahead of me, so I'm going to shut the camera off now in case it starts beating down some rain. And until next time, or Teal's Nest to go. Good health, sir.